First, let's pay homage to the lineage gurus, homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming, homage to Master Sakya Zhengkong, and homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, and homage to Master Tupten Darji, homage to the three jewels of the altar, homage to the main deity of Homa today, the Mahaprajna Paramita. Simu, Tuten Siddhi Rinpoche, all Dhamma masters, Dhamma educators, Dhamma teachers, Dhamma instructors, Dhamma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, all disciples present here, and our participating VIPs today are the Chief Secretary of the Taiwan government, Mr. Zheng Peifu and Mrs. Zheng. From Academia Sinica, the academician Professor Zhu Ziyi and Mrs. Zhu. And the council from Tainan City, Mr. Tsai Wang-chun. And Tribhuvan School Scholars Group and the medical group. Law advisors to Tribhuvan Foundation, Ms. Jennifer Zhou. And from the new Taipei City, the Physical Education Department Head, Mr. Liao. And from Taipei Council's Chitmisia's representative, Ms. Xie Huiling. And the General Manager of Jingyi Enterprise, Mr. Wu Guande. And from Brazil and Wenzhou Association Vice President, Mr. Xiang. From South Australia, and the General Manager to the Special Import Committee, Ms. Tsai. A well-known entertainer from Taiwan, Mr. Tai Ziyan. The President of the Worldwide Lotus Light Charity Society, Master Chang Ren. And the Director of the Lotus Light Charity Society of Taiwan, Mr. Li Chongyang. Producers for Gini Diansang Xinten of City ITV Taiwan, Ms. Rebecca Xiaji. And producers for the Great Perfection Dharma Hevajra Exposition and 12 Messages of Tantrayana, Master Lien Yue. And the host to Lamdre and the Sutra of Perfect Enlightenment, Master Lien He, Master Lien Jia, and Master Lien Hai. And the council from the Nantou County, Miss He and Miss Xu Zhuang. And thank you to the royal family of the Saudi Arabia and the Greenland Company for their donation of 100,000 NT dollars. and from Sydney, Australia, Far In chapter for their donation of 100,000 NT dollars. Good afternoon, everybody. How do you do?
Good afternoon and normal konnichiwa. Selamat siang. Selamat datang. Hola, amigo. Te quiero mucho. Salchi.
Good afternoon, everybody. How do you do? First, let me that last week that among our disciples there was someone that won the first prize, and a few days ago we also were told that there was a disciple who won the first prize. And then she herself won the first prize, and then she won the second prize. The same person won the second prize. And I asked her how. Because the first one last week didn't meet me, but the second one we met, but we couldn't tell who that was. And she said she followed Grandmaster's instruction on the 1st and the 15th. She was carrying a golden egg and walked 8 steps, and then 8 steps coming back, and then placed the golden egg at the fortune fortune corner. So didn't you yell, "Fortune God, please come to my home"? No, but she yelled that, "Oh, the Vajra with the greatest fortune, please come to my home." Because nobody cried out that, only she did. So she won the first prize and the second prize. Please don't ask who that is. If you want to ask, then you can ask the hobbit, which is, we have so many hobbits in Tribhuta school, which is the ones that are very short but with really kind hearts. They knew who that is, but there's no need for you to ask because it's meaningless. So there have been 2 people who won the first prize. And then someone else from Thailand. What's her name? Because her name is very long, so we call her Miss Ing from Thailand, Sawadika. And she used Manohara's practice and she won the first, second, or third prize continuously for 3 years. And up until now, she is still winning prizes continuously for 3 years. Think about it. How could it be possible that she won every time? It's twice a month. And she came too for the ceremony this time. And she said she had continuously won for 3 years. She definitely, she never miss a period. And there are lots of first prizes and also second and third and other smaller prizes continuously for 3 years. So Grandmaster has said that someone will win, and sure enough, now. And the second person who won the prize, she told us that she hasn't received the proceeds yet, and she said that when she receives it, she will make the offering. And she personally told me that she will make the offering when she receives the prize. So there are 2 first prize winners, and there will be more. So it's really amazing. Once I said that someone will win the lottery prizes, sure enough, people are telling us. And in my elementary school, I went to Datong School in Kaohsiung, and my elementary school mates came here to the temple from Kaohsiung. And the place I live is at Dongpoling. And also the chief of that neighborhood also came. And someone by the name Huang Longzi, which is on the same period as I was. Has he gone back home? Oh, because they have other appointments, so they have left. They were my elementary school mates. We were all born on the Taiwanese year 34th. Very happy to see them again. So because on the VIP list it did not include their names, so that's why I asked if they have left. And that's quite a rare opportunity to meet your elementary schoolmates, school classmates. That road now is not called the Mingsheng Henglu anymore. I used to live in Kaohsiung, Xinxinqi Mingsheng Heng Road, number 77. And my elementary school classmates are not here anymore, so I can say. So his elder brother, in Japanese called Taka, and I am Kachi, and Huang Longzi's brother called Taka. And he was courting a girl across the street from our home. And she's beautiful. She was beautiful. So it's right across from my home.
林森横路有一条马路
So
正对
we
面
would
有一
have
个
been
很
a
漂
good
亮的小学，
match. A
这
beautiful
是他
lady
们那
there.
时候追求的。
So his brother was
那时
pursuing
候
her,
我那个时候我也
and at that time,
大概到高中吧，到了高中的
until
时
high
候，
school,
因为那个小姐长得很高大，
so
非
that
常美
lady
丽，
grew
非
very
常美丽。
tall and
看她的脸，
beautiful.
你就可以多吃半碗饭。
By looking at her, I
秀
could
色
eat
的午
half
餐，
more
这
bowls
叫
of
秀色
rice.
的午餐。
So which means
那么
you can
秀色
dine
的午
on
餐呢，
beauty.
那个高中的时候有心向往之，跟人
And
家的
in high school,
已经先追求者，
I was also interested,
所以
but Taka already pursued
自
her
己没有
first.
希望。
So there was no hope for me.
他们家里这个跟那个黄龙志的家里，他们是做乌
So
衣子的。
Taka's
你
family,
看
or Huang
小
Longzi's
学的时
family,
候做乌衣
was
子，
in the business of the
那都是富豪，很
like
有钱，
caviar, a kind of
很有
fish
钱。
roll. So they
他
were
们家很有
very
钱，
wealthy,
然后经常把这个乌衣子晒在那个马路上
and
外面，
they often dried the fish
就跟黄
roll
龙志讲
on the
说，
roadside.
找
And I
几家
told
来我还。
Huang Longzi, can I have a few?
他真的，他有时候因为是同学嘛，
And because we were
讨几笔
classmates,
来我还，讨几笔为记，到我
so
们家里来，哇，我们家里就
so
打响
please
屁啊，终于有乌衣子吃，
get
没
some
有钱
for
买，
our
但是
family,
还有乌衣子吃，
because we were
可是我黄龙
too
志
poor to
后悔，
buy, but we had some of those
看
fish
在过
roll,
命的份上，
like a
人家
press
真的，
fish
他跟
roll
我
of
娶了她，
Taiwanese.
这是过去的事情。那另外呢，还
That
有一
was
个
a
要报
story
告，
from
我
the
今天
past. I have another
环
announcement.
境的特别多，
Today we had so many
环境，
people
环境就是
um,
防我清净的
recite
环境，
asking for the
那环境
repurification,
的
which
在
is
六
repurifying
楼
you.
也有环境，那么在这个县营这个哈达
There
的
were
时候也有环
people
境，
on the sixth floor, and then after the Hatha offering, there was a long
看
line
了
requesting
也
for
是
the
有被附身
repurification.
的，也有被附身的，很多也是有被附身的，看了也觉得
There were some people that had some attached
脸
spirits
色
on
苍
them,
白，不然就
and
是
I felt
恐慌
pitiful
嘛，
toward them. They looked
越
pale,
恐慌，环境的并没有什么健康的那种颜色，而且都有一些病痛。
or they had a very dark energy. They didn't look good, and
那今
they
天特别
had
感
some
谢
pain
这个
and
和
illnesses.
行会议员跟洗双议员，
So today we
谢
especially
他
thank
们来，
the council He and Xi Zhuang for their coming,
因为洗双议员以前对我们
because the
这个台
council
湾
Xi
讲是
Zhuang
贡献很大，
had done a great favor for our
帮
Taiwan
很多
temple.
的，
She
帮
had
很多的，
she has
洗双议
helped
帮
tremendously.
很多的，也很感谢他们。
Thank you to them.
另外谈到这个真活波业藏，
And talking about the
真
True
活波
Buddha
业
Boye,
藏
or the True
是这样
Buddha
子的，
Wisdom Depository,
按照师母跟我讲的是说，
according to what Simu
很
told
容易
me,
给他下载，
it's very
下载
easy
是
to
很容易
download.
你要下
Very
载，
easy.
你在这个时间里面给他下载还是很容易，
It's
并没
very
有太大
easy.
的阻碍，你可以下载。
You can download
但是呢，
with not much
有一些东西是不
obstructions.
能够下载的，那些
But
东
there's
西是什么
some
东西
things
呢？
that cannot
是
be
我习惯
downloaded.
写的那些
What are
梵
they?
文的咒语，或者我创造出来的咒语，
It's like the Sanskrit syllables or the
也是这
mantras
个
that I
根据
created
我们这个曹师兄、曹师姐讲，
according to our Dharma
是这样
brother
子。
Cao and Dharma sister Cao,
既然有心下载，也就
because
让你下载，
if you're interested to download,
可
then
是
we will
下载
let
的
you
品质
download.
不一定那么好，
But the
因为这个
quality will
我
not be
们
so
读这
good.
本书啊，好像是《中国波叶藏》，他自
So
己会翻的，也就是说，
when
他
we
自
read
己
the
用
electronic
手，
book,
他自己会读完一页，他会翻开一页，一直
it
在
will
动，
turn the
一直在
pages for you.
一直在做功能，很多的功能在，
There are lots of
很多
functions
的功能在，中国波叶藏很多的功能在。
in the
那你如果喜欢这
TB
一本书，
Poye.
整本书全部下载，
If you
你
like
要
the
花很
book
多的功夫，
and you want to
而
download
且
the
你
whole
那么
book,
喜欢师尊
it
的
will
书，
take a
也
long
就让你
time.
下载。
So since you really like Grandmaster's
那
book,
师母的意
we
思
will
是
let
这样
you
子
download.
啊，
That's
说
what
你那么喜欢
Sumo
师尊的
said.
书，你要下载，那就让你下载，那就
Because
让你
if
下
you
载。
like Grandmaster's book, so we will let you download it.
这是关于中国波叶藏。 另
This
外
is
还有一
about
点，
the
就是
TB
说
Boye.
医务团所提出来的，
And
医务团
something
提出来，在我们
raised
大
by
法
the
会
medical
的
group,
时候，因为人多，而且
like
气
during
候
the grand
又非常的
ceremony,
冷，
there were so many
这
people
个星期六
and
礼
it
拜
was
天，
extremely
刚好顶
cold
这两天，
for
再
Saturday
来
and
就更冷。
Sunday, and then
这两天最冷，而且
only
人
for
又
those
那么
2
多。
days, the coldest time, and
那也有，当然也有人
so
倒
many
了，也有
people.
晕倒。
So there
那
were
我们这个非常
people
的
who
辛苦，
fainted,
这个急救的仪器不够，急救的
and we
仪器
didn't
不
have
够。
enough
但是原则上，
equipments
师父他
for
是这样子讲，
emergency relief.
原则上是讲，
And Master Lianzi said
现在呢，每一次的法会都有可以申请救护车跟医
that
护人
for
员
each of
到
the
这里来，就
ceremony
是要
we
花
can
这个
request an ambulance and the medical
一
personnel
次要花5000块，啊，请一部救护车跟医
$5,000
护
each
人员
time
在这里服务，这样。
to stand by
但
here.
是如果是那个紧急要用的救护仪器，啊，
But
原则上
for
是
the
答应
emergency equipments,
啊，
Master
他们
Lianzi
这
has
个紧急要
approved
救护
to
的，
buy
啊，
those.
也让我们也答应说，就买这样买了这个紧急救护的，那个像按摩心脏的啦，
Like to massage the hearts
那我们医护团有没有那个
for
精神科的
CPR.
精神科的？
So do we
也有
have
精神科的，是花莲的，
a nerve
花莲的医师，他是精神
nervous
属于精
system
神科的，
medical doctor at the
他
medical
今天
group
没来是吧？
from Hualien? He's
他
not
是
here
花莲
today
的精神科医师。啊，今天刚好有一个精神病患，有一个精神病患在楼上发作，
because
在
today
楼
we
上
had
发作，所以我们
a mentally diseased person
被那个附身的，被鬼跟动物灵附身的，被鬼
that
跟动物灵附身，发作很厉害。一个小女生而已，很小的女生，
that was also
发作起来
attached
像老虎一样，
by those spirits,
非常的凶猛，
and it's a little girl that
都
flared
握
up,
不住她，抓不住她。
and it was like a wild
师父
tiger,
告诉我说，
and several strong
师
men
尊在
couldn't
那里，
hold her
所
up
以压不住她。
because Grandmaster was
师尊在
there.
那里，他怕师尊，所以
So
发作。
she was,
他
or
怕
the
师尊，
ghost
所以
was
发
afraid
作
of
很厉害。
Grandmaster, so she flared
他
up
说只要师尊
really
离开他，
badly.
他就感觉到安全，那个鬼自然就会走。
So
那
if
我这个离
Grandmaster
开了以后，哎，
distanced
那
himself,
个鬼就离开，
then the ghost would leave.
那个鬼就离
And
开了。
then I walked away, and sure enough, the ghost also left.
但是我想应该还要再看精神科医生，
But she still has to go to
为什
the
么？什么原因呢？
psychiatrist
因为他都没有办法说，
psychiatrist. She could never
以
sleep,
我的常识，我所知道，一个人
and according
3
to
个
my
晚上没有
knowledge,
睡，
if a
4个晚
person
上没有睡，
has not slept for 3 or 4
他是精神
nights
就
continuously,
开始错乱。
then your mind start to go
我知道
berserk.
的是这样子，你1个晚上没有睡，2个晚上没有睡，
According to
3个
what
晚
I
上
know,
没有
if you
睡，
haven't slept for 1 night,
确
2
实
nights,
那
or
么
three
个不能
nights,
睡，到第4天
and you don't sleep at all for
精
three
神就会
days
放
and 3 nights, and then on the fourth day,
然后
you
不好
start to
的东
lose
西
your
就会进
mind,
到你身体。
and then the negative
我
energy
长期
would
失
enter
眠的，
into your body.
睡得很短，睡的时间很短，
People with
睡的品质
insomnia
不好，
would sleep for a
也
very
是有
short
这种现
time,
象。
or they
所
don't
以刚
sleep
开始
well,
的时
then
候，
they
当
may
你
have
睡
such
得没有办法睡，
symptoms too. In the beginning is that you cannot sleep.
像这个杨宗啊、钱真啊，
Like Yang
她
Zong
的姐妹
and Qian
都
Zhen,
是没有办法睡，
they can't
拜了这个金
sleep
银佛
well,
以
they
后
can't sleep.
就很难睡。
After worshipping the Jingyin Fu,
另外这个
it's very difficult for them to
博
sleep.
士啊，
And also the
这
professor,
个博士也是这种现象，
the
睡眠不好的
PhD
时候，
also
它
had
很容易发作，
this experience.
所以一定要保
If you
持
don't
睡
sleep
眠，
well, then it's very easy to flare up.
一定要保持
So
好睡
that's
眠，
why it's important
这是一
to
个很
sleep
重要的。
well, to maintain
就是说，你
a
睡
good
眠不好
sleep.
的时候，
This is very
要
important.
赶快看医生，
So if you
或
don't
者
sleep
求
well,
这
you
个
need to go
正
see
规
a
上师
doctor, or you
帮你。
pray to the lineage root
那个
guru
像
to
医生
help.
已经1年多、1年
That
1
little
年半以
girl
上睡眠不好，
hasn't slept well
1
for
年半以上睡眠
about a
不好，
year and a half,
变成
or
这个
over a
戏
year
子，
and a half.
戏子就是鬼呢，
So
住在你的房子里面，你的房子就是你的身体，
so she's become
鬼
like
可以
a
住在你
host to
随
the
处可
parasite. So you become like a house, and the
失
ghost
眠
is the
的这种
parasite
现象。
attaching to your
大
house
家
or
要
living
注
in
意。
that house. So being attached by the ghosts have such signs. So please be careful.
那今天我们是做波叶佛母哈，波叶佛母
So today we had the Homa of Prajna Buddha Mother.
就是最大的佛母。
She is the greatest Buddha
我
Mother.
讲过这个大波叶经，大波叶经
And I have talked about the Mahaprajna
的
Paramita
缩小，
Sutra,
它就是金刚波叶波罗蜜
and
多。
condensed, that would
再
be
缩小
the
就
Vajra
变成心经，
Chatika Prajna Paramita
心
Sutra,
经
and then condensed again to become Heart Sutra.
就是
So
大波
that's
叶
the
经，
broad, which is the Mahaprajna
金
Paramita
刚
Sutra,
波叶波罗蜜
and the
多。
middling one is the Vajrachatika Prajna Paramita Sutra, Diamond Sutra, and the essence is the Heart Sutra.
大波叶
So the Heart Sutra is the quintessence of the Mahaprajna Paramita
这个波
Sutra.
叶佛母是心经最后的
And
结咒，
Prajna Buddha Mother is the last mantra
化
of the
身出来
Diamond
的
Sutra,
波叶佛母，波叶佛母，
and
4个手，
emanated as
一只手
Prajna Buddha Mother
拿
with
着
4
这个金
arms.
刚杵，
One hand is
一
holding a
只手
Vajra
拿着
scepter,
波叶经，
the other hand is holding the Prajna Paramita
还
Sutra,
有2只手
and
是
then the 2 hands below are forming the meditation mudra.
啊，非常的庄严，它是
Very beautiful and
一
dignified.
切的佛母，
And
一
we
切
can
的
say that
所有
all
的
Buddha mothers,
佛母，
that
全部由
all
它所生，
Buddha mothers
全部由它
were
所生，
born from the Prajna Paramita Buddha Mother.
最大的
So she is the greatest Buddha Mother.
我们
So
做的
today
这个
we
活动，
perform
所以供养
Homa for the
所有的
greatest
佛母当中最大的佛母，
Buddha Mother of all
当
Buddha
然最大的
mothers.
佛母比谁还大？比无我母还大。
So of course she is greater than Nairatma, the Buddha Mother with no ego, the Buddha Mother, the wrathful Buddha Mother,
比自在的
Vajravarahi, the
都比他
Buddha Mother with self-mastery. So she's greater than all of them.
全部他的是他的化身。
So all Buddha mothers were emanations of the Prajna Paramita Buddha Mother.
那么这个咒语呢，
And the mantra,
哎呀，它 这个咒语就是
This
很
mantra
大的智慧，用很大
means
的智慧到达彼
utilizing
岸，
the greatest wisdom to arrive at the other shore.
最大的智慧到达彼岸，
So the
以最大的
greatest
智慧到达彼岸，
by
那
the
是意义就是
greatest
这样。
wisdom we arrive at the other
波
shore.
罗给
That's
得
the
给
meaning.
得，波罗给得，波罗僧给得，菩提所哈，
That's the meaning of the
菩提
mantra.
所哈，菩提
Buddhi
就是
Soha.
得到的这个道果，你已经得
Buddhi
到了道果，
means that
道
you
果
have
这个意思。
attained the
所以这已
fruition,
经是最大的果，
which means arriving at
那
the
么它
other
的手
shore.
印
She is
就
the
是另
greatest
外
Buddha
千
Mother,
印，
and the mudra
千印，
is the
千印。
scripture
那
mudra.
千印大家知道了，我以前用过，
We all know. I have formed this before.
这是它的手印。咒
That's
就
her
是给你
mudra
啊，
and the
嗡给
mantra,
得给得，波罗给得，波罗僧给得，菩提所哈，心经最后的境界，
which
心
is
经最后的境
the
界。
last
那有咒语，
few
有
words
它
of
的
the
形象，
diamond of the Heart
有它
Sutra.
的手印，
So with the
就可以
mantra,
修它的本
her
性，
appearance and her mudra,
就
you
可以
can
修它的
perform
本
the
性。
deity yoga of this
这是
deity.
这个大般若波罗，
So that's
大
the
般若波罗
Mahaprajna
对书
Paramita
生的
Buddha
很多
Mother.
佛，他一般他
And
下
she
来，
gave
他
birth to
的
many
上
Buddhas.
面就五方佛，
When she descended,
他只要
above
一下
her
降，
the five
五
Dhyani
方佛就
Buddhas.
跟着下降，
So
五
as
方
soon as
佛就
she
跟着下降。
descends, the five Dhyani Buddhas will descend with her together.
这个修行的方法，它有仪轨，
There's a
讲到一
sadhana
点，
for the
讲到
Dharma
我，
practice.
还要提到
Talking
一点，
about Buddha Mother, I need
这
to
个
mention
不
one
是要
thing.
在新竹办法会吗？
We will
新竹
have
办
a ceremony at
是
Sinzu,
白度母法会，白
and
度母
that's the White Tara ceremony.
听说这个莲真上师特别在这
And
个
I heard that Master Lian Zhen,
跟我们办那个大万化金刚的会场，他也有一个摊位，希望大
that
家
at
报
the
名出席。
Mahotara ceremony, he had a booth there
大家说
and inviting everybody to register for the White Tara ceremony. And maybe all of
讲白
you
度母，不过
thought that Grandmaster has
并没有
taught about White
传
Tara,
统，没有传统，
but I did not
这
transmit
一
the
次
Buddha
没有做
Dharma.
过这个传法。
I
白度
never
母这一次
did
是要传
the
法，
Dharma transmission of White Tara.
是要传法，
So this time I will
是要
transmit
传白度母
her
的。
Buddha Dharma.
所以因为他在那边这个希望大家能够
And
主
he
持受
hoped
摊位，
that everybody will
租一个摊位
register
就
for
可
the
以
primary
上师
supplicant.
是花多少钱租一个摊位？
So he rented a booth for how
1万
much?
块，
$10,000. That's not bad.
他希望人家报名主席，在那边摆了一个摊位，
And he had hoped that people will register
希
for
望人
primary
家能够报名主
supplicants.
席。结果他的成绩
And
竟然
yet
是0分，
there was
竟然没有
zero
人报名白度母的
registration.
主席，
Nobody
伤心说
registered to become primary supplicants for White Tara, and he was very sad. So he came to me and complained,
到底你摆在哪里啊？
"Where did you set up your booth?"
体育馆的第5期有很多人吗？
The fifth area of the stadium, were there many people there?
他说总之也会有人来。我劝你以后
There are few people.
在厕所旁边，
You know, my suggestion is to set up your booth next to the toilets. You know, there's a reason for that.
因为每个人都要去那里呀。
Because everybody will go to the
经过你
toilet
那里的话，他会
and
顺
will
便
pass
给你报
by your
名
booth
白度母对不对？
and then would register for White
这很好
Tara.
你懂得摆
You need to know where to set up your booth. And this is the debut transmission of White Tara. Some people said Grandmaster had talked about White Tara. Oh, that's just a brief mention, not a real Dharma transmission. So I welcome all of you to register for the White Tara, for the ceremony at Shinju. And also I hope that you would register for the ceremony at Kaohsiung in the south, the home Tara. So 2 big ceremonies are coming up, one in Hsinchu and the other one in Kaohsiung. In Kaohsiung, that's home Tara, and at Hsinchu, it will be white Tara. I've written a book in the past. It's called The Precious Sword of the Yogi. Those were all dialogues with the white Tara that included many tantric precepts. So if you have read that book, you would know. So I would like to mention the Master Lianzhen from Hsinchu, who's very honest and very and rather easily bullied. So if you support him, it's the same as you are supporting the master. So White Tara is very close to me because we had a dialogue for a long time. So Grandmaster is very familiar with White Tara. So if you support White Tara, that's the same as you're supporting Grandmaster. That's for sure. And if nobody is interested at all, then I might as well just go back home. So Prajna Paramita is from the Mahaprajna Paramita Sutra. So they are family tantra. The family of Father Tantra belongs to the skillful means, and due to the skillful means, you would generate wisdom. So in Tantrayana, there's the Father Tantra and Mother Tantra, and the Mother Tantra belongs to the wisdom side. So Mahaprajna Buddha Mother exists, but Mahaprajna Buddha Father does not exist. So Prajna represents wisdom. And the wisdom of the Buddha is very profound and very hard to fathom. By reading the Mahaprajna Paramita Sutra, Diamond Sutra, and Heart Sutra, many people don't understand. Actually, they all talk about emptiness, empty nature. So during the Mahottara Heruka ceremony, I said that if a person can be in full concentration, then you can achieve everything. This was spoken by Lamdre. If you can be totally single-minded and focus all your mind on one thing and you only have one thought, then you are incredible already. That
所以阿
is
弥陀经讲
meditative
里面讲到
stability.
一心不乱，
So in the Amitabha Sutra, it was mentioned about
就是
full
调整到
concentration.
一啊，调整
So
到
which means you train
我们人有很多的烦恼，
and
这
harmonize
个
it to
烦恼
be
把它
to
集中
one,
成为一，
because we have so
调整
many
到一，
worries, and then you
这个时候你可以念头可以止住。
adjust them to become one.
我们在佛教里
And
面
at
有一
this
句
time,
叫
you can
念
stop
住
all your
念
thoughts.
念头的念，
In
住
Buddhism, there is this
就
mind
停止
abiding,
在那个念上，就是
which
人
means
守一，万事一。
your mind stops
这个
there.
时候呢，你想阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛就会现身。
So at this time, if you are mindful of Amitabha Buddha, then Amitabha Buddha will appear. And this
一
is
心
the
不乱往来
full
以后，
concentration.
要归什么？就人能守空，
And then, when a person
能守空，
can abide by the
那
emptiness,
一
then
归
the
哪里？一就是归于空。
light will appear.
你能够空
So
掉
from
自己，
one returns to zero,
身
to
心
nothingness.
打
If you
破
can empty yourself
你身
and you
体
break apart the
打破你
body and the
身体，
mind,
那时候禅宗叫做打
and in
破
Zen
黑气筒。
Buddhism, that's
黑气
called
筒是什么境界？
breaking the black
黑
oil
气筒
barrel.
就是我们的身
And
体。
what is that? That's our
我们
body.
身体里面呢，因为烦恼太多，妄念
Because
太
we
多，
have so many worries and so many running thoughts in our body,
红啊，
it is completely dark.
你能够把黑气筒打破，
But if you can
宇
break
宙
apart
的法流
the
就会进到
dark
你身体，
barrel, then the Dharma flow of the universe will enter into your
当你
body.
做妄的
And
时
the
候，
first
宇宙的
experience,
法流就
spiritual
要
sign,
进入你的身体，
is when you are
充
sitting,
满了甘露，
then the flow of the universe will enter into your body and your body will be
光
filled
从
with
哪里来？
nectar. Where does the
就
light
从
come
智
from?
慧之光，就从佛
From
光，
the wisdom's light, the
就
Buddha's
从
light,
佛性之光，
from the
也是
light of the
空
Buddha
性之
nature,
光。
which is also the light of the empty nature.
所以我们先守一，
So
先
first,
人
we
的
should be
修
single-minded
内
first,
定，就是说
and you should train in the mind abiding.
只有一个
You
念头，
stop your thoughts. You only have one
时间
thought.
长，你的念住力量
And
最大。
if you can do it for a longer period of time, you have more power.
走了，又来一个第二个念头，
But
空间，你可以看到怪。
if your time is short, that between one thought and another
当
thought,
你
in
守一的时候，
between you will be able to
真
see
正能
light.
守一的时候，
When you can be truly single-minded
那个念头是止住的，就是定境。
and the thoughts are
那时候
stopped,
光就会出现。
that's the realm of the
另外呢，
meditative
你把
stability.
一
At
转
that
成
time,
一，
light will
转
appear,
成空的时
and then you
候，
transform one into zero, to
所
emptiness,
有宇
and
宙
you
的光
break
明，
down
宇
the
宙的
body
意
and
识
mind,
全部进到你的身
and
体，
all the light of the universe
这个时
enter
候才
into
叫
your
做
body.
身心解脱。
Only
真
this
正的
time
空性
it
就
will
在
be
你身体。
called the liberation of the
你
body
要
and
做
mind,
到
and the
能够
true
依
empty
在
nature is
归一，
inside your body.
零归一什么啊？
So you would need to be able to do this
零
to
就
make
归
it
于
into
大，
one, and then from one return to zero, and from zero returns to what? To the Tao.
就烦恼跟妄
Then
念
you would realize the Tao.
人一般
Because
烦恼跟妄念，
typically, for most people, it's impossible to stop
真正最大的智
our
慧，
worries
你
and
先
stop
念
our
住，
thoughts. So the greatest wisdom is to stop the
再来变
thoughts.
成空
That's
性，
one. And then becoming the
光
empty
在你的
nature,
显现。
which is the appearance of light.
再来呢，把这个光明跟道合一，就
And
归
then
大。
the merging of the light and the Tao, that means you're in
讲
union
起
with the
来很
Tao,
简单，
then you attain the
讲
fruition
起来
of
很简单，
Lamdre, the
修起
fruits.
来非常的
It's easier said than done. It's extremely difficult to practice because every human being would have thoughts.
你能够念高王观世音
If you
菩萨
can recite
高王
Hiking Guan
高
Yin
王经
Sutra
高王经念一遍，
from
其中
beginning
一
to
个网念
end
都插不进去，
without any
全部
single
是
thought
佛法菩萨的
whatsoever,
号，一个网念都
and
插不
all
进
you
来。
have are just the names of the
你在
Buddhas
念
and
高王经
Bodhisattvas and no
这
other
几分
thought
钟，这几分钟，
appearing
你就叫做
in
念
that
一
few minutes you're reciting the sutra, that would be called stopping the mind, stopping the
念
thoughts.
过高王经的，大家都念过。
We all have recited
所
Hiking
有
Guan
的
Yin
同
Sutra.
学都念过高王经，念高王经的举手。
Yeah, please raise your hand if you have recited
你
the
能
Hiking
不
Guan
能
Yin Sutra.
从第一季开始？
So,
第一季，
are you
高王
able
观世音菩萨
to
南无
recite
佛南无法
the
南无圣，
Gawang Sutra, Gawang Kwan Yin
一
Pusa
直到
Namo Pho
最
Namo
后
Pha
一季
Namo
碰
Sung
见八大菩萨，
until the
八大
last,
菩萨，
invoking
还有
the
念
eight great
弥陀
bodhisattvas
佛得教得
and
得多尼得尼那得比尼得摩诃得真千得所哈，然后再请八大菩萨，碰请八大菩萨前面也可以，后面也可以。
so it's okay to invoke the eight great
在
bodhisattvas
念的
before,
过程
after.
当中，
And during
是
the
不是有妄念
recitation,
插进来？
do you have any thought appearing,
还是你念的时候，
disrupting
句
it?
句分明，
Or
每
are
一句都分
you,
明，
in your
分明得很清
recitation,
楚。
every word, every syllable is very clear
所以我念台语，咱们简公必理会八种会，七十后心
in
中
Taiwanese?
不可虚拟，点王会，八火会，有公种狮子有地会，波线不行同会，有书有理公王会，波公公的三王会，显出公的波王会，贵体七户以来应条千户，千果八户八果千户，八华千户，八一点公总会点公王。你就是这样子念下来，每一个字
So
都
you
非
recite
常
it
的
this
清晰，
way,
一点杂念
and
插进去
every
都没有的。
character is very clear without any disruption or distraction whatsoever.
至少念住几分
Then
钟，
there would be
至
mind
少念住
abiding,
几分钟。
at least for those few
从
minutes.
这几分钟开始，以
And
后
you
你慢慢
start
学
from
习到
this few
完
minutes
全能够
and
受
you
持
train
对。
yourself until you can be totally single minded.
这个就是功夫。大家都念过高王经，
So that's your
你
training
保证
power.
你这一遍的高王经
Everybody has recited the
是
Kawang
有
Sutra.
跟高王观世音的心互相结合在一起，是不是
Are you sure that you're in union with Guan Yin's heart when
所有
you're
的
reciting it?
你通通
With
一个妄
all
念都
the
没有，
Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, without any other thought
会
arising.
妄念都没有的举手。念一部高王经而已，很短，几分钟。
Only in the short few minutes of the sutra
但是在
recitation.
念的当中，你没有想到别的念头，完全就是
That during the recitation you don't think of any other thing. They're all just about the Buddhas and the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas. Have you done that successfully?
偶尔会有，
Yeah.
但是经常的。
Sometimes, very
高王
infrequently,
经或是几
but
分
most
钟
of
而
the
已，
times you would be distracted. Those are only a very few short minutes.
这比快枪侠还要快。我们念这个念高王经，有时候比快枪侠还要快。但是你这个时候
So
就有妄念
reciting
进
the
去，
Hiking Guan
在这
Sutra
当中就有妄念进去。说人能
is short,
注
but
意力很
still you have other
阿弥
thoughts
陀经虽然是
i-
一个
injecting
方便
into
法
it, so that alone is difficult.
这个西方极乐世界里，
So Amitabha
但是
Sutra
你能不能
is
一心不
very
乱？
easy.
重点是一心不乱。
The Pure Land is very easy to allow someone to be born in the Western paradise, but can you be single-minded? That's the key. This is very important. So in our Buddhist practice,
不乱最重要。
full concentration and single-mindedness is very important. You need to train on that first. And then you train on the liberation of body and mind. Once you're liberated in the body and mind, then you have reach the path
有
of
的还未
nirvana.
闻道呢，也就是菩提道。
That would be the body path too.
你得到菩提道，解
Once
脱
you
道，
attain the body path,
先解脱道，后
first the
菩提道，
liberation path
这
and
就是
then
般若
the
波罗
body
蜜
path
菩
later
提
on.
所哈，
And that's the bodhisoha
已
of
经
the
得到
Prajnaparamita.
正道。
You have realized the Tao, the path.
除了这个以外，除了这个以
And
外，
other than
其
this,
他都是旁支，都是
the
外道。
rest are just deviant paths.
这
The
真
rest
正
are
的正
just
解
skillful means.
是空性。
So the true,
你要修
the
到一
key
修
formula
到
is the
空性，
empty nature. You need to train
没
to
有
become
这个
single-minded
最后念
until
处，
empty
我们开
nature,
始修
no
是念处，
thoughts.
念处。
So at first we need to train to stop the
所以为什
thoughts.
么叫做观法？观
So that's
观
why
法呢，就是说我观想般若
the
的
Dharma practice of observing.
当你念头走掉的时候，马上
So the
看般
visualization
若波罗蜜
practice
身上，
is, say, if in our Prajnaparamita practice, once you have a thought, then you visualize Prajnaparamita very clearly,
一心不乱，
or you visualize
念头走
Amitabha
了，
very
马上调
clearly,
回来，走了，
and
再
you're in
调回
full,
来，
full
时间慢
concentration.
慢的走，
And then when the mind wanders, you
你就
bring
能
it
够念
back.
住。
It wanders, you bring it back.
这个要靠
And through long-term
打坐的时
training,
候，
you would
在
be
在
in
打坐的时候，
full
静念
concentration.
打坐的时候，
This is the experience we have from
是
sitting
非常重要。那么所谓
or
的智
sitting in
慧，
meditation.
也就是说，
The so-called
当你
wisdom
身心解脱的时候，
is when your body and mind are liberated,
你进到
the
了
Dharma flow of the universe wisdom will enter into your body, and your body will be filled with the nectar.
这时候光明就会产生出来。
At this time, you would generate light.
哦，内丹道果啊，
Let me
为
recite
物等
an
根
excerpt from Lamdre.
传承祖师们次第教授，口耳相传，相续不绝。一为吉祥萨迦巴如来独有之耳传真诀，后因大师因列会弟子中恳求之下，先后造广列不同11家书诗，其内一切之最后是。所以应量格西请求而造，名为量马道果，言简意赅，极重精妙。这是在讲这一本道果是如何来如何来。那时候他道果也有所谓的广中类的这个解释解释。
We were talking about the origin of the
跟大家讲
Lamdre. We have mentioned about the broad, middling, and the
就
essence
是金刚
of Lamdre.
啊，
Like the broad is Mahaprajnaparamita Sutra, and the middling is the Diamond Sutra, and the essence is the Heart Sutra.
有这样子的，做这样子的。那么道果也有广中类，
So Lamdre too is the same.
列会弟子众，列会弟子众，我们不能讲我们这个人。
So
人
this is the stage exposition of my lineage root guru and the lineage gurus through one-to-one transmission. So people are divided into with people with superior spiritual roots, middling, and the inferior spiritual roots. So those are the three paths according to Atisha.
这个叫做三世道，就是
So the paths of the three levels of the superior spiritual roots, what needs to be taught to them and what's taught to the middling one, what's taught to the inferior ones. So, to those with less spiritually able disciples, what teaching should be given to them? So you would understand.
他是讲这一本经是如何来，
So it talk about how this sutra came, why it was being commended, and the explanation on it.
它里面谈到的这个道果，这个以后会跟大家讲立
So it talk about
第一
Lamdre.
宗，
One is the precept school.
如今不为以利他之故，为了救度他人的缘故，及
To
下
help
讲
others.
就是给他注解的非常清楚。
So a few masters annotated
然该
clearly,
他的解释因列会者
and the explanations
故不易了之。他说
were for the because it was difficult to understand by the less able disciples,
不太容
those
易
with
了解，
less wisdom.
故选择矫往细手照文论及其他
So
讲记中，
exposition and compendiums were supplemented,
甚深明白畅晓及讲授文辞，
and the profound and lucid
讲
instructions
全
came
文列陈，
from Guru Manjushri compared to the superfluous
就
proceedings.
是萨迦班之党。
So Guru Manjushri is Sakya Pandita,
的语教，故特为引众受持，复为
especially put great importance on this part,
弟子中，
and due to repetitious requests from many faithful followers, that all instructions were recorded and compiled into this
讲
book.
授本之书，才完成这一本书的是萨迦班之党
So Sakya Pandita
才完成这一本书。
completed this book by annotating and expounding on it.
它里面的这个文字啊，当然
So the
要理
words
解起来，
inside,
不是很容易。
it's very difficult to understand by reading it this way.
这个注解
It's okay.
谁注解？
It's just
为什
explaining
么要注解？
where the annotation come from and why it was annotated.
是为了
It's to benefit others, and those with
很多人看经
those who are wise, they would understand the Vaja verses by reading it. But many people cannot understand, could not understand it, so that's why it needs to be annotated
记述出来，而成为道
and
这一本
explained.
现代的这一本书。
So that's why Sakya Pandita added the annotation and the supplement to supplement it, and that's how this book came about.
有人写了一个笑话来啊，跟大家讲一讲。
Someone wrote a
在
joke
新年的开始，
at the beginning of the new year.
祝你聪明如鼠，聪明像老鼠一样，就是
So I wish that it's according to the 12 Chinese zodiacs. I hope that you're as smart as the mouse, as the rats, as strong as the ox, as brave as the tiger, as cute as the rabbits, and as confident as the dragons, and and fast as the horse, and as obedient as the goat, and and as beautiful as the rooster, and as faithful as the dog, and looks like the pig. Grandmaster doesn't look like a pig. I'm as beautiful as the rooster.
我是属鸡的，
My Chinese zodiac is Rooster.
为什么家长们只看分数？
Why are the parents only
那这
check
小
on the
朋友会
score?
绘画
And
会
the
写
students
看得懂
reply,
这种题目吗？
because they don't understand the
这也是很
questions.
好笑的。这个事实上是这样子的。
In reality, it's like
我们
this.
做家长的是看
As
小
parents,
朋友他的
we
考卷上的
check
分数，
the scores
真正的题
on
目
the
你要
report
做，
cards
家
of
长
the
们还不一
children.
定会做，
But if you ask the
家
parents
长
to
还不一
do
定会
the
做。
to answer the questions, they may
所以
not
现
be
在
able
这
to.
个考试真的是
So
加
exams
一个
these days,
考，真的是很难受的。
it's
每一次我们要考
very
试都会受，有的时候还会
disconcerting. Every time I had to take an exam, I would lose weight.
然后又考
And
试
after
又
the
瘦，
exam, then I would
然
regain
后
my
又再长
weight.
回来。
And every time before an exam, I
有一
would
天
lose
终
some
于毕
weight.
业了，从此以后不再考试，
And one day I
可是
graduated.
梦中还是很苦，
I didn't
因为
have to
梦
take
中还是在
exams
考试。
anymore. But in my dreams, I still take
哎，
exams. I still
对你梦中的
feel
时候，你梦到
miserable
你自己考试了，
sometimes
希望梦中
in
也
the
没有考试，
dreams.
这个是太好了。
I still had to take exams. I hope I don't have to take
其
exams
实佛
anymore,
法很
even in
简
the
单，刚
dreams.
刚已经跟你讲，
So Buddha Dharma
念
actually
住
is very simple.
一
I've taught you earlier. Stop your
归空
thoughts.
离，
1, 0.
然后光明
Return
即
to
水明，
emptiness.
甘露充满，
The
光明
appearance
即
of
水，
light, the filling of the nectar, the appearance
身
of
心和
light.
解，解脱，身心打
The
破，
liberation of the body
才
and
能够
mind,
身心解
the
脱。
breaking of the body and mind by having no ego.
其实啊，人间是苦，
Actually, the human life is suffering,
最后是空。
but ultimately,
那你可
even
以懂得
that the
所有
suffering
的
is
智慧，
empty.
无
So
常
if you
是
comprehend
你
all
要
the
懂得的智
wisdom,
慧，
impermanence is the
然
wisdom
后
that
又
you
知
need to
道能够
comprehend, to
身
understand.
心
And you
解
train
脱，
to become no
这是
self. That's
如
the
来的
liberation of the
教
body
法。
and mind. That's the teachings of the Tathagata.
苦，人间有，
Suffering, human life is suffering,
那苦本来就是空，
and the suffering is intrinsically empty,
一切事情都是无常，
fundamentally empty, and everything is
没有常态，
impermanent.
变来
Nothing
变
is
去。
everlasting, it's ever changing.
你既然知道这些，
Since you
就
know
要解
this,
脱你的
you
身
need
心，
to be
你可以解
liberated
脱
in body and mind to become no
这
self.
就是解脱道。
That's
然后
the
再加
path
上
of
智慧，
liberation.
就变成菩
And
提道。
to add the wisdom to it,
基
then
本
would
上就是
become
这
the
这
body
几个是相
path.
同的。
So the quintessence of Bodhidharma are this. Only these few words.
讲一个笑话吧。
Let me share a joke.
5、6个女士一起吃火锅，
So 5 or 6 ladies are having the hot pot.
吃
And
了
because
不
the
到1
room
个
is
小时，
really
一
hot,
个个满身流汗，
before an
脸上
hour
都
everybody
花
is
了，
sweating.
全部都花了。
And the makeup
实在
on
忍
their
不住，
face all
大偶然动作
disintegrating.
去化妆室洗脸，
So they
然后
couldn't
洗
stand
脸
it
回来
anymore.
给我做。
So they went to the
我记得
bathroom to
进来
wash their
上菜的时
faces,
候，
and they returned to the
上来
table.
经
And when
理长
the
就说
waiter
啊，
got in,
刚才那一桌的人走了吗？
he
他们还不
asked,
买单呢。
so the people earlier have left, they haven't paid the bills.
我告诉大家，
So let me tell you,
念住在
so the
一，
mind abiding
那是要
at
依靠
one,
实修才能够得到。
and you need to attain that through real
一归于
practice.
空，也要
And the
实
one
修才能够得。
returns to emptiness also
知道
through
空
real
了，
practice.
知道空
Once you
性，
know it is empty,
你应该
you
身心要
comprehend
解
the
脱，
empty nature. You need
就
to be
是修到
liberated in
无我的
body and
境
mind.
界。
You need to train to reach the
这是
realm
身
of
心解
no
脱。
ego, no self. That would be the body
然后你
and
身
mind
心解脱
liberation.
了以后啊，宇宙的
Once you're liberated in body and mind, the light of the universe will enter into your body, and you and the universe will merge. That's realizing the path. This relies on real practice. You cannot fake it. So if you don't practice it this way and you say that you have realization, that's fake. I will not believe it. So spiritual cultivators have to understand this. You need to show the real thing, not faking it. Like those ladies who put on heavy makeup in the small room and eating the hot pot and sweating, and then they wash their face and then they showed their true faces. So the waiter couldn't recognize them anymore, and he thought that that group had left, that what he saw now is another group. So you need to see the true face, to return the true face to yourself. That's Buddha Dharma. That's after the liberation of the body and mind, after the entrance of the wisdom. And the light of the universe merged completely with your wisdom and with your light. And then the path that you realize at that time is returning the true face to you. That's all for today. Om Mani Padme Hum.